Good morning, everybody. I'm Debbie Skirdo, and I'm the Vice President of the Board of Trustees for the next year. And thank you, Lily. Beautiful, as always. We have some wonderful announcements today. First of all, for those of you that were not here last night, we did have a rollicking good time. We did celebrate. It was wonderful. It was wonderful to celebrate Reverend Ellen. And we had a good turnout, and we also have leftover delicious food for you for after service. So please be sure to come and stay and get a plate if nothing else. And we have tacos and rice and beans and cake, so be sure. Also, choir is going to be back on the 7th, so then we will be singing at the Inn Gathering on the 10th. So that's something, I look forward to that for sure. And today after service, the young adult group is meeting, and we have Jack and Phoebe back from far away. They're back here for school starting, I think, tomorrow, right? Yeah, so that's exciting. I'm announcing also that last week, I think, was the date that it was our 71st birthday for the church. So that's exciting. And I want to announce the people that we are giving gratitude to this month. There was a little typo in the announcements. So we're honoring Jerry Cox for being an extraordinary greeter and always coming and giving of her love. Also, George Hinoki for all the work he's done on the plumbing and the exit signs and just being here so available to us for all these many needs. And Alan Randall, who worked diligently to get our fountain outside working for last night. So those three, we certainly really appreciate your hard work. Also, we have a request. If anybody here has a recommendation for roofers, we will be doing our fundraiser for our Spirit Grant pretty soon, and we need to replace our roof. So if you know of a good, reputable roofer that we could get a bid from, please let us know. And you can let David Adams know, or me, or even Brenda, okay? We also, Kay Perlman is going to be coming soon, and she wanted to let you know that she'll have her camera and her film here to do more photo ops with Reverend Ellen. We'll just kind of kidnap Ellen and have her stand over there if you want to get a picture with her and you weren't able to last night. I already have mine up on the refrigerator, so that was fun. And also, she has like little magnets that she has the instant film, and she'll put it in a little magnet holder for you. Sally and Bruce Mount are in need of a caregiving service. So they would really appreciate if you've had good experience with someone, or even a professional service that can send people out periodically. I don't know if they need anything every single day, but they really, really need someone to help with Bruce because Sally is having to take it a little bit easy right now. And please give some extra love and positive energies to Catherine Rowley. She is dealing with her sister's cancer that has spread and is more severe and causing a lot more complications. So give our love to her. And I think that's it. So thanks to all who helped last night, and we'll have a great service today. Oh,
We sound the bowl 3 times. Once for those who came before, the Tongva and other native peoples who were the original stewards of this land and called it home long ago. We also honor our ancestors and the founding members of this congregation who imagined and formed it over 70 years ago, 71 now. Once for those of us who are here now, for our members and friends, our visitors and staff and extended UU family who hold, care, and grow this beloved community we know as our own. And once for those who will come, for all who will find belonging with us and call MBUUC their spiritual home in the days ahead.
In the Book of Delights, Ross Gay asks, "What if we joined our sorrows, I'm saying? I'm saying, what if that is joy?" Please enjoy our opening song, which is going to be a video today of the song "I Am Willing" by Holly Near.
I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. There is a hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty yoke to hold my confusion, and give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder, and give me an ocean to hold my tears. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of
Jack Little will come and light the chalice. Let there be light, the light of joy, the light of happiness, and the light of contentment. May it illuminate our paths and fill our lives with peace.
And let there be dark, for it is from our dark places that we are brought forward, tried and tested, and impelled toward growth. It is in these places that we realize compassion and learn to love.
And there was a day, and there was night, and there was joy, and there was sorrow, and it was good.
If you please stand as you're willing and able and join me in saying our covenant, and we will follow that by singing Spirit of Life. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as a beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life.
To invite our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, Robert Tidwell, forward to share our story for all ages.
Good morning, everybody. Today's story is called Happy Dreamer, and it's by Peter Reynolds. I'm a happy dreamer. I'm really good at dreaming daydreams, big dreams, little dreams, creative dreams. Dreamer Maximus. Sometimes the world tells me, sit still, be quiet, pay attention, focus. But my dreams have a mind of their own. Sometimes my mind just takes flight. I hear a beat and I gotta move. Then I hear another and another. Wish you could hear inside my head. And it has him playing the trumpet very loud. Trumpety zigzag jazz. Sometimes I'm a quiet dreamer. When I make time to stay still and hear myself think, to let go and see what takes shape. Can you see that? And it shows in the clouds. He's looking at a sailboat and a horse. Sometimes I'm swinging. Sometimes I'm a swing high dreamer, way up high beyond the clouds, so I can touch the sky. I can also be a loud dreamer. Hello world! I'm a shout from the top of my lungs dreamer, even if I'm just a loud inside my head dreamer. Sometimes I'm a colorful dreamer, painting my own path, full of surprises at every turn. I can dream even when the lights are out, all circuits on, fireworks. I light up, I'm all ears, eyes, heart, and mind. I have so many creative dreams that it can get messy, creative chaos, and cleaning up my hidden treasures. And if you make me, I will put things away, but then there is less me to show. These are the moments where I feel alone, boxed in. And yet I always find a way back, plugging into amazing, delightful, happy dreams. I'm really good at being me, a dreamer, surprising, caring, funny, gentle, smart. And when I tumble back to earth, I know I'm okay. Dreamers have a way of bouncing back and moving forward. There are so many ways to be a happy dreamer. What kind of dreamer are you? And then it opens up to a page of a whole bunch of different examples that I'm not going to read. But if you like, I'm going to leave this at the RE table, and you can look and find what kind of dreamer you are. But the best way to be a happy dreamer is just be you, which is why this book is dedicated to you. Yes, you. So thank you. And if Jaryus can put the words on the screen, you guys can sing me out to our class. It looks like all of our kids are at home enjoying their ACs. So I will take the chalice down and find them on Zoom.
Each month here at MVUUC, we select an organization whose work we want to support by sharing our plate, sharing some of our donations with them. Wanted to remind you that in August, our recipient is the Prison Library Project. Their mission is to provide incarcerated individuals across the country free reading resources with an emphasis on education and self-improvement literature. As one of the nation's largest Books to Prisoners programs, volunteers receive more than 300 request letters a week from inmates and send out over 10,000 book packages each year. Your donation will help ensure these special deliveries continue to happen. For more information, you can visit their website at claremontforum.org/Prison Library Project. And if you are writing a check, please indicate in the memo line whether your donation is for your pledge or share the plate. This congregation is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. The morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship, and at this time we also accept donations for the Beta Center Food Bank.
That was wonderful. I don't often sit up here, and it sounded even better here, so it's a perk. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. We have a few things written out here. Harriet, who is Maddie Scully's sister, is currently in the hospital and asks for our prayers and healing thoughts. Sally Mount was hospitalized this week as well. This was for pulmonary embolism. I believe she's at home right now, but I'm sure would appreciate our love, prayers, and thoughts as well. On a happier note, Jack says I'm back, and Phoebe too. Yay. Debbie shares, my daughter was able to have her client, Tony, released from prison after being there since the age of 14, a total of 12 years. Yeah. Do we have any joys and sorrows on our Zoom? Okay. Thank you. Then could we please join together and sing a happy birthday to our wonderful Ellen. Happy 90th birthday. what I heard? May we remember those who have been named and those we hold in silence in our hearts. In the second edition of the book, Facing the Climate Emergency, How to Transform Yourself with Climate Truth, Margaret Klein Solomon writes, grief is the best method we have for reacting to losses and adapting to new realities. Grief ensures that we do not get stuck in denial, living in the past or in fantasy versions of the present and future. We must allow ourselves to experience and work through our grief associated with the climate emergency. According to environmental advocate Joanna Macy, the initial task of grief is to simply accept the losses and face the truth. The second task of grief is to feel the agony of the loss and to understand the meaning and the depth of it. This is where we want to get comfortable with crying. And I'll be honest, this is the hardest part for me. My husband knows that if I give in to grief, I'm down for days in bed. So I try to avoid it. I had an example a few years ago. The Social Justice Committee did a summer film series, and they were showing Josh Fox's How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things Climate Can't Change. And I attended everything, and I conveniently was busy that day. And Laura hadn't. She said, I'll lend you the video, and I conveniently didn't do it. I didn't want to go through that grief process. But crying can be a challenge for us, especially for those of us who've been taught that crying is a sign of weakness and shows our inability to cope. But crying is a way to link the emotional with the physical. When you cry, you release stress hormones and toxins from your body. Crying is powerful, helpful, and necessary. The third task of grief is to find a way forward based on an accurate perception of reality. Did you hear this? Grieving is not giving up. This is a mistake that many doomsdayers make. Grief is not the end point. By grieving for what we have lost, we free ourselves to take joy in life again. Solomon says, I went through several months of intense grief as I was facing climate truth, and I continue to grieve. I have cried many times. I cried about my fears for myself and my family, for the starving people in the global south and right here at home, for the gorgeous species that are going extinct. Feeling grief reinforced my recognition of the seriousness of the climate emergency and the seriousness of our collective loss. But grief did something too. It reminded me of how much I love this world. The depth of my grief was a direct response to how connected I am and want to be to the living world. It gave me a new breath of life. Mother Jones famously says, pray for the dead and fight like hell for the living. The grief we feel reminds us that nothing is more precious than life. Grief clears the way for us to embrace the most difficult challenge, to fight to save as much life as possible, and hopefully to restore some of what's gone. It moves us toward activism, motivated by love and hope. It connects us to others who have realized the same thing, who are acting not just for themselves, but for the greater whole. The climate movement has been built largely on guilt, shame, fear, and individual action. What could be possible if we felt our grief together and let it turn us toward joy? What if we create a movement that is life-affirming and focused on a future that we dream about? We're not talking about positivity washing here. We're talking about the spiritual practice of lament and grief that then make room for joy, hope, and action. I'm hoping you will join me in a symbolic ritual of the process of grief and joy. You'll be handed a piece of paper. We have our helpers here. On this paper, write or draw something that represents to you right now your sorrow, loss, the sadness you feel that's related to the climate emergency. And those on Zoom, if you wanted to physically do it or mentally imagine it. Oh, I'm sorry. I will repeat it. It says, write down or draw something, if you're an artistic, that represents your sorrow, your loss, the sadness that you feel toward the climate emergency, what's been going on in the world due to climate change. I'm writing words because I'm not the artist. And as you finish, the baskets will come back around. You could please place your sorrows, worries, fears, sadness into the basket. Are we good? Wow, that's a reflection of how concerned we are, definitely. Give this out to the Zoom participants to toss them in as well. Please repeat after me. We acknowledge and mourn these losses, worries, and fears.
We acknowledge and mourn these losses,
Worries and fears. We grieve and accept them as we face the truth. We grieve and accept them as we face the truth. In our communal sorrow, we find space for hope and joy. In our communal sorrow, we find space for joy. All right, let's take care of these guys. You're doing so well, so take a little journey with me. Let's imagine that is 2050. We're all here, we're all healthy. And our collective actions have been successful. Everything goes right. Take a breath and let that joy fill your body. Let it energize you. I always feel it in my hands, the tingle. If you are willing, please step forward and take a flower. The flower represents the joy and the success of our current labor coming into fruition. We're going to place the flower into the soil of compost that was created from our shared grief and sorrow. does it look? Looks good. Oh, that last one was for you on Zoom as well. So gaze upon the beauty of this garden. It's a symbol of our communal hope and our joy, a symbol of what can be. Should we applaud for what it represents? I think so. Let the memory of this ritual sustain you through the work that we have ahead of us.
Hello, I'm Ricardo Levins Morales, a child of Taino land in Maricao, Borinquen. I grew up clambering up the mountainsides, picking my way through dense forest tangle, and going to school in the classrooms built on the side of Don Paco's store. The forest is an honest teacher. It only tells the truth. And the story it told me was of the tangled unity of death and life and birth and decay and rebirth, about unending cycles of depletion and replenishment, about changes that occur in a lightning flash, and others that take months or years or centuries. And most of all, about the frightening, unstoppable, brilliant determination of life to exist. I grew up in land under colonial occupation. For those not familiar, colonialism is a large-scale version of armed robbery, meant to keep poor people poor and the rich rich. It depletes without replenishing. It's what has blown so many of us, like spores on the wind, to places far from our homes. In my case, onto the occupied homelands of the Dakota people and their more recent neighbors, another displaced people, the Anishinaabe. The words spore and diaspora share the same Greek root. I don't have to tell you that we're at a turning point in our intertwined histories. We all feel it. The Gulf Stream, the jet stream, the migrant stream, all changing and shifting at once. Even the long historical arc of the colonial era itself is reaching its stage of exhaustion, but cannot release its deadly grip. Not on its own. The rest of us, the forests and wetlands, oceans and human bodies can no longer pay its mounting bills. We, like every generation, are a link between the ancient past and the ancient future. How we step into that role matters a great deal to those who await, in the future, around the bend, where we're headed. I have friends who live there. I'll tell you about them in a minute, but first, let's pack for the journey. Don't bother packing a map. Maps aren't much help when the landscape itself is constantly shifting. What matters is that we learn to read the land, feel the wind, listen to the vibrations in the ground and the rhythms in each other's hearts. None of us knows how to get there, so we need to become the kind of people capable of figuring it out. First of all, we need to pack some knowledge. We humans have been gathering experience for 500,000 years. Let's use it. We have to know our history and each other's. And if we're entering a time of mass extinction, let's learn about how past ones have gone. How is it when so many species are disappearing that some are able to expand and thrive? What allows a salmon run or a coral reef to recover? What practices pose a real threat to those driving the destruction? Union leader Joe Hill once said, "Don't mourn, organize." We need to organize. But we also need to mourn. So let's pack up our grief. Grief is how we know loss. We've had enough of that. Accumulated loss can weigh us down. Grieving lightens the load, lightens it as we go. It also clears the mind. We get to grieve for our loved ones, for the polar bears losing their ice, for the homes we've left behind, for our people's pain. But to mourn for the whole entire world, that feels irresponsible. When your child is sick, you don't mourn their loss. You fight like hell for their life. Same with Mother Earth. Finally, we have to pack a load of hope. Hope's a commitment. It's an action, not a feeling. It's the life force that drives every chipmunk, sea turtle, or butterfly to venture out each day in search of a meal or a nesting place or a mate. It's what allows us to see opportunities. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but the universe is a lot more invested in what you do than in how you feel. Because however you feel, the choice is the same. It's about either giving up or stepping up. Kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? You all packed now? Okay, let's get back to the future. So about my friends. I see them standing beside a river in a circle, around a fire. They are sometime far enough in the future that I'll never actually meet them in person. But they've summoned me here, me and other ancestors, maybe you, for a ceremony of gratitude, thanking us for all we did during the confusing, frightening, uncertain, and painful time of the turning. How we rose up to the occasion, how we never gave up, so that one day they would be able to stand here around a fire on a beautiful evening, birds chirping and water rippling, and thank us. It's what ancestors live for, literally. I never knew this before. We don't just need our ancestors, they need us, as we need those downstream from here, as an anchor point in the future, someone to dream about, to fight for, to walk toward. Let's go.
Ricardo Morales just spoke to us about the no-brainer choice we face about our Earth. Give up or step up. Sometimes it's hard not to give up. We're always reminded of the threat of climate disaster. Just last week, we had to cancel this service because of the threat of a tropical storm, unprecedented here in Southern California. And I know most, if not all of us here, have taken actions to mitigate the climate disaster. My husband Sean and I do what we can at home. We have solar power, and we recycle, and we feed our food waste to our worms. But it doesn't feel like enough. Better than nothing, but not actions that will make a real difference in the world. I want to do more, but it's hard to know what I can do, and it's hard to keep feeling positive. Getting involved in the Green Sanctuary program offered me a way to step up instead of giving up. I'm excited about the opportunity to work together as a faith community that views caring for the interdependent web of life as a core spiritual practice. The Green Sanctuary 2030 program's guidelines allow us to reflect on our congregation's mission, vision, and goals. The program guides us in identifying the various opportunities for, and challenges to, climate action. It encourages us to take bold, effective, collaborative actions that mitigate, adapt, and build resilience. We are encouraged to create climate justice by finding ways to help those folks who are most hurt by environmental disasters, such as extreme heat, or flooding, or lack of safe water. And along the way, it gives us opportunities to celebrate our successes, to associate with others fighting the good fight, and to gain the energy needed to continue on this journey. At our annual congregational meeting, we voted to continue on this journey, to do the work, and to dare to hope. Jeanine and I, along with Ann Taves, who was traveling and was very sorry not to be able to be here for this service, have committed to be on the Green Sanctuary Committee. Everyone is welcomed and needed. This is our communal work. If you have 30 minutes, an hour, a week, or a year to give, you are joyfully welcomed. The committee, with Ann Taves very much taking the lead, has completed the initial application for the Green Sanctuary 2030 program. It will be available to all of you to review in a link in this week's announcements. And if anyone needs a paper copy, let us know and we'll print one for you. Your comments and suggestions are requested. We would like to collect these. You can use my email address, which will be in the announcements, or you can write any of us a note. It is our hope that the application will be submitted in September. You can also use my contact information to volunteer to join us or to ask questions. And if you're interested in learning and discussing more, please plan to join the upcoming class, Our Place in the Web of Life. MVUUC's Green Sanctuary team and Lifespan Religious Exploration will be offering a 5-session class that invites our congregation to explore where we fit geographically, ecologically, socially, and economically in the complex set of interdependent relationships that comprise life on Earth. Each class is from noon to 1:30 and starts on September 10th. Hope isn't a feeling, it's an action. So let's acknowledge our grief, share our knowledge, take action, and find hope for our world together.
If Jack will come forward to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing words are from Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, Braiding Sweetgrass. I choose joy over despair, not because I stick my head in the sand, but because the earth gives me joy every day, and I must return the gift.